y-axis. This I won't cover. So now the supply. The supply in general is the same as for the demand, just from the producer's perspective. So we have a positive slope, since for a higher price, he'll be ready, of course, to produce more. Or the other way around, if many people want a good, then he'll be ready to, it increases the price because he wants, this is the law of market law. And so we have a positive slope. The higher the price, the higher the quantity. Willingness to sell is how much quantity a producer is willing to give at a certain price. So the more expensive, the more you want to sell. This is just some vocabulary. When we speak about a movement, it's along the curve. And when we talk about a shift, it's when the whole curve is moved. Huh? So we often, when, for example, in the question, he talks about a tax cut, he'll ask you, to which direction does the curve shift, left or right? Then, as I said, the equilibrium is where the supply and demand curve meet. So we produce exactly a certain amount of quantity at an exact, precise price. So if you have two curves, the market supply curve and the market demand curve, just set them equal. Be careful that you set them equal for the same thing. So P equals to and P demand equals to and then you can set them equal, and you'll find the quantity, and after you put the quantity into one of the first functions, and you'll have the price at equilibrium. Shifts in the market, this is what I was saying just before. Either the whole curve shifts. Yes, I won't cover this, but if you want to have a look at the slide later on, it might help you. So a consumer surplus is the difference between what the consumer is willing to pay and the actual price at equilibrium. So let's say the price here in this example for an apartment is 200,000, okay? So for the consumer Lee, his individual consumer surplus would be 100,000 because he's willing to pay 300,000, but the price is only 200,000. And this you can go on with everyone, it's the same. The consumer surplus on the graph is represented at the area between the y-axis and the equilibrium point of two slopes meeting. The producer surplus is very similar to the consumer surplus. So let's say someone is selling snacks here, Appetizer Ltd. He sells snacks, and a customer comes and says, I'm willing to buy your products for 2,000 francs. Well, Appetizer is willing to sell already for 1,000 francs. So his individual producer surplus will be 1,000 francs, the difference between what the customer is willing to pay and what he expects as a minimum pay. And on the graph, it's represented as the same, the area between the y-axis and the equilibrium price. So when we talk about perfect efficiency, it's the customer surplus plus the producer surplus covering the whole area. This is also when welfare is maximized. If somehow now a state imposes a tax, then there'll be another player here, and welfare immediately won't be maximized. If you have questions on this later on, please ask them. I'll just go on now. Here's the example I just gave you before. So you see the welfare loss would be this triangle here. So now I'll talk about elasticity. Elasticity is the demand and supply sensibility to change in one of its components. Often we talk, though, in this course about the change in price. So if the price increases, how will the demand react? Will the quantity go up or will the quantity go down? And by how much? So the demand elasticity, some things you need to keep in mind. The less substitutes, the less it is elastic. So if I'm producing bread, okay, but there is only one type of bread, then people, how should I say? People don't have a choice to buy my bread, okay? So the less substitutes, the less elastic. The more the necessary a good is, also the less elastic it is. So luxury goods are very elastic. The bigger the market, the less elastic it is as well, because if someone is not willing to pay for it, because the market is very big, you'll have an average, if you understand what I mean. And then also the less percentage of the income is devoted to the product, the less elastic it is. And elasticity is negative. So if the price increases, in general, quantity decreases. So the definition of elasticity is by how many percent does the quantity demanded change if P, the price, changes by 1%. So here's a small example. We have a price changing by 0.1, and here the quantity changes. So for an increase of 0.1 in price, the quantity demanded decreases negative by 62.5. And here you can see how we calculate it. But the most important is that you keep this formula in mind. This is very important. Write it down maybe for the exam. It's like the magical formula. And in case you're solving it, here the 2,500 is given. So don't try to think, oh, where does it come from? And also what's important, often the elasticity is expressed in absolute value. So what does it mean? Even if we have a negative elasticity, it'll be written positive. But don't worry, in the exam, as it was mentioned also in the mock-up exam, often he says, please indicate in absolute value. So if this is written, don't put a negative sign in your answer. So here, this is an example for perfect inelasticity. So elasticity equals to 0. This was a question also in the mock-up exam, if it's possible to have an elasticity of exactly 0. Yes, it's possible, but it never happens in real life. So what does it mean? It doesn't matter how much the price is, people will always ask for a certain amount of quantity. So the closer you are to 0, the more it is inelastic. And this makes change if you this makes sense. If you have a look here at the table, it's some examples of real life examples. So the price elasticity, for example, for tobacco is 0.4. So it's very inelastic. And how can you understand it better? So you see here, we have a magical formula again for the elasticity. If we have a high increase here in of a price, so we have a big number here, the quantity will not go up a lot. So we have a small number divided by the huge number if we go into extremes. So small divided by huge equals very small, so smaller than 1. So here for tobacco, makes sense. People are addicted to smoking. So if you increase the price, they'll still buy your cigarettes. Yes. Oops. Okay, supply elasticity is similar as the demand elasticity of demand. It's just from the supplier's perspective. So how much does the quantity supplied vary if I, as a supplier, increase or change my price by 1%? So here it's a positive elasticity. Same again, perfectly inelastic. You'll recognize the graph from before. Oops. I'm skipping this because it's not important for the exam, okay? Let me check which slide we are. Okay, so actually that's it. Don't. The rest is not important. It'll be for the final exam. So, if I hope it helped you the slide. Oops. Let me stop sharing my screen. If you have questions now or precise, maybe mock-up exam questions or just theoretical questions, go for it, ask. I hope I'll be able to answer. And BOSC Julia will be my talker.
Knowing that the exam is half theory, half exercise, guys, don't panic with exercise only. Theory is kind of very important too, so you can just ask both.
Yes, Dimitri.
Sorry, just sent a thing on the chat. On the photo, it's the first one. I don't know if you received it. Looks like it's.
Yes, from Gloria, right?
No, it was for me, but you can do Gloria. Mine is sending.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just reading your. Wait, let me share it for everyone has it in the chat, huh? So you see it. Okay. Yes. So here, you might be a bit confused why it works that way. You can use an weighted average for this example, okay? You just have to imagine that the total market, so the 120 goods asked bought from Marie plus the 80 goods from Pierre, they represent the whole market, okay? So the total market demand. And since every market demand is a curve, when you have a total market demand, it's just another curve that will be more or less positioned but parallel in the system of equation, okay? And now, so the 120 items that Maria buys, they have much more weight for this total market demand curve that the 180 items of Pierre. So here you can calculate 120 times minus 2 plus 80 times minus 1 divided by 200 total items. And then you have equals to minus 1.6.
Okay, thank you very much. I get it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I think he clicked something wrong. Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. Feedback. Okay. Got
Okay.
it.
Then the next question.
It's Dimitri's one. It's about the fundamental problem.
Yeah, it's a pretty stupid question, but you know, they said they have unlimited needs. Yeah.
I think for this one they just like play with words, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, because basically consumers, yes, they do want everything, but the correct answer is like consumers want everything, but society can only purchase part of it. So I think that's why it's just like the answer is not complete. I think Frederick agrees with that.
Mm-hmm.
And also the second thing, society does produce consumer. No? Because the consumers is the people that live in the society.
They do produce goods
Dimitri.
to like for consumers' wants, but they do not directly produce consumers.
Okay, cheers. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Because a consumer also personally needs to be ready then to pay it. Then I'm a consumer. As long as it's only something that society tells me that it's amazing to have, if I'm not ready to pay for it, then I'm not a consumer.
Thank you very much.
Okay, then I think Eric has two other questions. I think he left again.
Yes, I'm sorry. Always when I'm
it's
like
fine. It's fine.
taking away the question, I click on the leave button.
It's okay.
I'll do it differently now. So, Eric, yes.
For this one, it's basically just a calculation. So what I did was just I have the regular elasticity formula, and I have the change in price, and I have the elasticity given. So I just multiplied by the price change, and thought that would give me the answer, but it was apparently incorrect.
Okay, I'll try to do it on the. Probably you forgot to divide it again, to multiply by. You have two changes here. You have the price increase of 10%, and then you have a demand that changes. Yes, so the minus 20% is the demand, right? The quantity that he sells, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So then the question is asking for the revenue change. So what is the revenue? It's the price times the quantity. And you know that the price increases by 10%. So it's price times 1.1 times quantity times 0.8, since you have a decrease, minus 20%. So it's 1 minus 20%. And then you'll have something like 1.1 times 0.8. The new revenue will be 0.88 of the old revenue. So this means you have a decrease in revenue of 12%. Do you understand, or shall I write it down?
It makes sense, but it would be great if you could write it down for me, please.
Sure. Can you see my...
Yes.
Sorry, let me take this away. Okay. So, you take the magic formula for the elasticity, which is elasticity equals to the percentage change in quantity of delta quantity, divided by percentage change of delta price.
Wait, Frederick, I don't know if the others can, but I can't see what you're writing. Wait. Oh yeah, now I can. I think.
Just showed up.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. It's fine.
Okay. And why is it? Okay. I don't know why it wants it to make fancy a bit, but you get what I mean. Okay. So and here we have a change in price. So delta P here would be percentage delta P is equal to 10%, which is equal to 0.1. And then you know that the elasticity is -2. So -2 equals to percentage delta Q divided by 0.1. Then you multiply -2 times 0.1, which gives you a percentage change in quantity of.
Okay. Yeah.
You're
Sorry.
writing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's not showing
you're
up there.
writing, but I don't know if you're moving something with your mouse. Try. Okay. Yeah. I think something like, I don't know if you click on something, but every time
you
there's
see
like
it
your
now?
face appearing, we can't see it, and then you just move something, and then we can. So I don't know why. But it's
But now
fine.
you can see.
Yeah. Now we can see. So basically -2 times 0.1, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So and then
Okay.
this
Wait.
gives
Yeah.
minus 0.2. So, whoa, oh my God, sorry.
Okay, you know what you can try to do? Try going on Teams, but like on the chat, like on the main chat, on your main page on Teams. Go to the chat of this like session, and then open the whiteboard from there and share your screen. Sometimes it's just Teams like messing up. I don't know why. Okay, try unsharing your screen. And then sharing it again, maybe.
And then in the Teams chat, you say?
Yeah, if you go on the main like Teams like block, if you go on chats where you have all your chats, go on the chat of the session, and there's like on the top there's like whiteboard written, and you open it from there, and then you share your screen. I tried once and it worked.
Okay. So now you see it, or do you have to share something else?
You have to share your screen like on the.
Okay, the normal screen. Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
And we'll tell you to choose like the whiteboard.
Is it better now?
Okay, try it from there. Try writing something.
Okay. Good. So now we know those minus 0.2. This is what Eric found out. So the quantity decreases by 20%. So now, this is just impossible. Why is I'm not doing anything? Okay. Do you see it, or is it very small?
Okay, wait.
Okay, never mind. So we know the quantity decreases by 20%, okay? So here it's where it comes to P times Q, which is the revenue. This is what the question asks. P0, so before the change in price, times Q0, before the change in quantity, is equal to some revenue, okay? And now we know that the price increases by 10%, so P times 1.1 times Q, and the quantity decreases by 20%. So it's Q times, in brackets, 1 minus 0.2. And so then, what is the difference between those two equations of the initial revenue and the new revenue? It's actually just the 1.1 times 0.8. And this gives you the new revenue, which is 88% of the old revenue. So you have a decrease of 12%. Is it clearer, Eric? I'm sorry, I just don't manage to write it. It's a bit silly, but Eric, is this fine? Can I go on?
Yes, yeah, please.
And then you have a second question.
I think I know why. It's because people are like, okay, they have the control of the whiteboard, so that's why you can write. Thanks, guys.
Well, I'll just stop sharing.
Yeah, just okay, perfect. Thank you,
very
guys.
much, whoever wrote it.
Yeah.
Okay. So here.
Wait, what we can do afterwards is just like send on the group chats the like the calculations if they need. We can do that afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so Eric, here you need to you have two equations given. Okay, you want to find the equilibrium price and quantity, since you need a revenue. Enfin, not a revenue, but the expenditures of all consumers, which is the revenue at the end. So here you just need to reformulate one of the equations. I suggest that you reformulate the first one, so Q equals to something, you reformulate it to an equation saying P equals to something. So here you'd have 2Q P. You would have P equals to 25 minus 2Q. This is a new formula, just reformulated. Now you can set both equations to equal. So you'd have 25 minus 2Q equals to 5 plus 3Q. Then here you get your equilibrium quantity and your equilibrium price. And once you have them, it's super easy. You just multiply them because you have the quantity times the price. So here, I guess what's difficult in this exercise is that you need to reformulate one of the equations and then not to be confused by the question of the expenditures. So the total consumers' expenditures is what they are all willing to pay times the quantity. So it's the revenue of the supplier at this equilibrium price. Is it clearer?
Great. Yes, thank you. I just forgot to multiply them at the end. I realized just now.
Okay, perfect. Then it's easy to correct. Okay, so now it's Ariane's question. I'm just going to read it quickly. Ariana, do you want to know which one is, why yours is wrong, or?
Yeah, I was wondering how to calculate why the average consumer surplus is equal to 5. Is it a different calculation from the normal consumer surplus, or is average just another word to say normal? I don't know.
Well, no, the total consumer surplus is, so in the graph, you know, the section I showed in the presentation, and now the average, I guess you need to just divide the total surplus by the amount of consumers, so by the amount of quantity you have at the equilibrium.
Okay, so you have to divide your result at the quantity at equilibrium. Okay, that's...
Yes, the result, which is in this case the total consumer surplus.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. And then Stella.
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
You did a great job. So proud of you.
Thank you. Okay. Let me just read it quickly.
Yes.
Okay. And you want to know why yours is incorrect, or?
Yes. I understand why the other answer is correct, but I also don't really understand why mine wouldn't be correct.
Oh, okay. Because so when you are at your maximum production capacity, it's very hard for the producer to find new employees to produce even more, okay? And when you're at the spare production capacity, all your employees maybe are on part-time because you don't need to produce a lot. So it's super easy for you to increase the production capacity by just telling everyone, okay, now you work full-time. You have enough people who can work. And so then this explains, well, the price elasticity of supply, this is important, since I can react as a supplier. If the price increases, I can tell more people to come to work and produce more. I'm much more able to be reactful to the market. And yeah. And the elasticity, if the elasticity is low, it means I cannot really react, right?
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Yep. Okay, perfect. Makes sense.
Okay.
And yeah, I have another calculation exercise. Yeah.
Okay, so here you use the total market, okay? Don't get confused by how much Caroline is buying or how much Gustavo is buying. You know that at a price of 5 francs, they will buy 1.5 kilograms, okay? 1,500 grams. And at the price of 4 francs per kilogram, they will buy 800 grams plus 1,200 grams. So 2,000 kilograms, 2,000 grams or 2 kilograms, okay? And now what's important is that you calculate the elasticity from the correct price on. So here you want to know the elasticity at the 4 francs per kilogram. So you know at 4 francs, if you increase by 1 franc the price, you will have a drop of 500 grams, okay? So a drop of 500 grams, if you take the magic formula, it's delta minus 500. I will write it in the chat after, or now. So delta minus 500 divided by the initial quantity at price 4, so divided by 2,000, which is equal to 1/4, so minus 1/4. And then the price increases by 1 franc at price 4. So 1 franc of price 4 is 25% increase. And so if you have the 1 franc increase divided by the initial price, which is 4, you'll have an increase of 25%. So here, you just divide 0.25 by 0.25, which is equal to 1. Here, be careful, it's fine. Be minus 1, because you have a negative elasticity for the quantity, for a negative percentage of a quantity, excuse me, and then a positive number for the price. So you have minus 1, but as I said in my presentation, he often wants an absolute value, and it's written here in the question, in absolute value. So it's not the minus 1, it's just 1. Does my calculation make sense? Do you understand it?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I didn't understand that you have to put them together. But yeah, like this makes sense.
I think what will be life-saving on Tuesdays to have your magical formula, and then it will really help you understand which numbers are provided, where you can put them in.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And now, Valentina, I'm at your question.
Hi, Freddie. Do you mind if I just hop in to quickly ask something before you move on?
Yeah, sure.
First of all, thank you so much for your help. I'm just wondering, when they ask for the price elasticity at a specific price, is that price always considered the initial / the old price? I don't know if you understand my question.
Yes, at a certain price, exactly. Your initial price will be this price, this precise price.
The one that they're asking in the question.
Yes.
Okay.
Fine. If they say at price X, I want to have the price elasticity, then in the magic formula, your beginning price, so P0, will be the price X.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I come back to Valentina's question. Okay, so here, Valentina, you need to set both equations to equal. So you'd have 100 minus 0.5p equals to minus 10 plus 0.5p. And then you just do the calculation. So we'd have 110 equals, yeah, very easy, 110 equals to p. Do you already understand how I got to 110 equals to p? Or shall I explain the step before?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, good. And then you put the 110 into one of the equations. So let's say in the first one, so we'd have 100 minus 0.5 times p, so 100 minus 55, which is 45. Oops. 100 minus 55 equals 45. So you know that the quantity at the equilibrium price is 45, and the price at equilibrium is 110. So now it's 45 times 110. The producer surplus is equal to, let me see. Okay, so you know the total consumer surplus is 45 times 110 divided by 2, which is 2,475. And here you have either B, which is not what you've calculated, C, neither. Infinity as the slope of supplies is unitary. And higher than the consumer surplus. So here you could calculate again the consumer surplus, which is in this case, let me think. Julia?
I think they're helping you in the chat because I'm just answering Dimitri's question. Wait.
Wait.
Yeah, but I think they did help in the chat. Wait. See. Can I ask where you found it? Like, is it in the mock or in the quiz? Just to see if I find it back. I think it was Valentina, right?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
I don't know where I found it from because one of my friends sent it to me.
Okay.
And I didn't get it
chapter.
there. I'll ask.
Without really calculating, no, we did a calculation, but intuitively, I'm not sure if it's the right answer, but I'd say that it's A, because so B and C, we calculated, we know it's not that, okay? And D, the producer's surplus would have to be infinity as a slope of supply is unitary. It just sounds very...
I think Ole kind of find an answer. And it
maybe I miscalculated as well because the others are thinking different ways. That was my calculation. It made sense for me, but now I'm also a bit confused, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think, guys, Frederick, you earlier did the producer surplus, which was 45, which is the price, times quantity of 45 times 110.
Yes.
Then times a half, because it's triangle.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be your producer surplus. And then you have to check what the y-intercept is for the demand function, which is 200. And then you have to subtract 110. So you have 90. That is your height for the consumer surplus triangle, 90 times 45. And then times a half, and that equals 225. And that is less than the producer surplus, because that was like 2,000 something, and consumer surplus is 2,000 and something, but higher than consumer surplus. So the answer should be A. If you calculate it, then you'll see it. Sorry, can I just jump in? But Victor, you said you used the intercept for the demand function, but it would be the supply function since you're looking for producer surplus.
Okay. I meant to get the consumer surplus, because you have to compare the two of them. That would be the demand y-intercept. I just assumed that it would be 0 for the y-intercept for the supply function, but I didn't check, to be honest. Maybe it's not 0, so maybe I forgot that.
Because you have to substitute 0 for the supply Yeah,
So
yeah. To be honest,
Q
I
is equal
didn't
to 0
check
for the supply function.
what the intercept there is. But if you just compare those two, yeah, I forgot that step. But if you compare those two, I think it would be a.
It's 20 for the y-intercept for the consumer supplier is 20. So then we do we have the equilibrium price at 110. So we have 110 minus 20 times 45. Times 45 divided by 2, and then it's answer B. Sorry, I did a calculation mistake. So Valentina, I'll just try to re-explain, okay? We were on the right path, but I did a small calculation mistake. So for the producer surplus, you know it's the price at equilibrium minus the y-intercept, so the price for zero quantity. And so this is 110 minus 20. And then you do the same as we did before. So 110 minus 20 is equal to 90. And 90 times 45 will be 4,050. And as it's a triangle, you divide it by 2. And then you have 2,025. Is it, do you understand, or should I Valentina? Okay. So I'll just write it in the chat to Valentina's question. Answer is B. Okay. And that's it. Oh, Noemi, I see you still have there's a question from chapter 2. Is it still actual, or did you find the answer?
No, if you can do it, please.
Okay, sure.
Do we have some restriction, like for example 3 pages or I think we have a little bit to check that, because if we have, like, for example, I have another project and it was like 23 pages, so we want to take anything, but for 30 pages, that would be awful. Yeah. To summarize everything, right? I have here a quick project, presentation and video, blah blah blah. Can you show your screen, Sarah? Oh yeah. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I was a bit confused. Okay.
Time, Fred.
Huh?
Take your time, don't worry.
Thank you, Noemi. Okay, I think I have it. Just let me calculate that I'm not saying something wrong. Okay, so the market demand curve is for one consumer is so minus 1/2 Q, okay? But you know you have 25 identical consumers in this question. So every quantity is only, you have 25 more consumers than in the demand of one consumer. That's why you divide in the answer, you see it's market demand equals to P equals to 22 minus 1/50th of Q. So the difference between the answer and the demand for one consumer is just the 1/2 and the -1 divided by 50. The 2 is multiplied by 25.
Okay, that's perfect, Fred. Got it.
Then you just set equal and you have what you need.
Exactly. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much.
Good.
Excuse me, just quickly, is that always how you do it? When you have the demand given for one person, you just multiply the denominator by the amount of individuals in the market, consumers, individuals?
Yes, if they're identical, yes.
Okay.
Yes, if they're identical, I learned it because I had one question wrong and I saw this was the answer, so now I know it's the way it is. But I guess you could have an explanation of why if you multiply it and then you have every consumer demand times 25, but you'd get to the same thing at the end. But what's important is that identical, huh? So if they say, fine, you'll always have an identical problem. But if you have a total market demand with several non-equal consumers, it'll be different. But forget about it. It won't be so complicated in the exam. Okay. Did I forget any questions?
Not from the chat, but if anyone has still a doubt or anything. If it's not the case, guys, anyway, I recorded the session and it will be posted on YouTube, so I'll send you the link. So you can watch it again tomorrow if you need so. From my part, everything's fine. Actually, I have a headache, so I think that was a good session. It was insane. But yeah, I think like the most difficult questions were asked, so I think we're fine. If no one else has a question. Well, guys, have a nice evening. Enjoy it. Be ready. You did a good job this evening, so I trust you and enjoy the evening and yeah, just kill it. Thank you, Fred. I'll have a chat with you then. Thank you, guys. See you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia.